Hi, I'm Kirsten Powell-Williams with Girl Scouts of Maine. This activity is part of the Using Resources Wisely series. We are going to be highlighting ways that you can reduce, reuse, recycle, and take care of the environment in your everyday life. Today, we'll be focusing on water pollution and through exploring basic water filtration. This activity will take about 15 minutes once you have your supplies ready. For this activity, you will need a water bottle or soda bottle or other similar bottle that you cut about 2/3 up. You'll need scissors, a bowl or pitcher, a spoon so you can stir, water, of course, materials that you could use to represent water pollution, such as salt, pepper, sugar, anything that you can mix into the water, as well as materials that you can use for your water filtration, such as paper, rocks, soil, cotton balls, anything that you might have around the house. You're also going to need a measuring cup so that you can measure how much water you put into your water filter. All right, let's get started. What are some of your favorite ways to use water? Do you love swimming on a hot summer day? Going canoeing or kayaking? Taking care of a garden and watering your plants? How would you feel if there wasn't enough clean water to enjoy in all the ways in which you like to use it? Well, there are many people that do not have access to clean water like you and I do. They don't have a faucet at their houses, and they might have to boil the water before they can drink it. We are very fortunate to have access to clean water. So, how does water become polluted? Some pollution comes from wastewater. This is water that has become contaminated through human activity. For example, water that runs into the storm drains as runoff from the cars might pick up motor oil from the street. Other chemicals also get into our water supply. Sand and salt from the road in the wintertime flow into our water supply. And there are other products from our yards and some of the things that we might use to care for our yards that add to our water as it rains and the water flows down. There are also sometimes parasites and bacteria that can be added into our water supply. Now, is this water something that you would really want to drink? Probably not. Did you know that the earth naturally filters out some of the water? This process is called infiltration. Rainwater falls onto the earth's surface and seeps into the ground. The water then travels through the layers of the earth. It starts with humus, just the twigs and leaves at the top of the soil. Then it flows through topsoil, subsoil, fragmented rock, and bedrock as it makes its way down to the water ground storage. Today, we're going to experiment with water filtration much like the earth does. Now, keep in mind, this is just an example of how water can get filtered. Your experiment today does not actually make the water that you're going to use safe enough to drink. So, we're going to try filtering the water. To start, you're going to pick 3 or 4 materials from your house that you want to use to test your water. You can use anything that you think might help filter the water much like the earth does. Just think about the different layers of the earth. So then you're going to take your bottle and you're going to turn your bottle top that you've already cut upside down, and eventually you're going to put it inside your bottle. But to start, it might help to leave it out so that you can put your materials in there. Then you're going to decide what types of materials you want to use to test, to see which ones filter out the pollutants the best. So for example, I have some cotton balls, some lima beans, some sand and gravel and some dirt, some cotton fabric, some, it's potpourri, but it could be pieces of different plants from your yard. And then I picked some shredded paper to use to represent the topsoil. Then you're going to make your polluted water, much like I did, and measure out 1 cup of pollution. That way you have an idea of what you started with when you pour it into your bottle. So then you're going to make your water filter. You're going to take your supplies and pour them into your water filter. And then you're going to pour your water in. You're going to after you pour it in, you're going to let it sit for a few minutes so that all of that water can flow through your water filter. As you can see, mine is already starting to come through. So once you've tested your water filter, you're going to take a look at what the water looks like when it comes back out. Did the water come out clear, or did it have a color to it? Was any of the water absorbed or retained from any of the materials you used? You can test that by pouring the water back into your 1 cup measuring cup to see how much went through. Do you see any of the oils or other particles that you put in to make your polluted water? Think about how much was actually filtered through, and then assess what worked and what didn't work. Is your water free of pollutants? So think about that, and then think about how the earth filters through the water, and think about what you might want to do to change your experiment and try it again so that you can see if you can make the water clearer based on what you learned. So there are numerous ways our water can become contaminated, and there are also ways that the earth naturally filters water. However, it is not able to filter out all the pollution that we as humans contribute to the water supply in our everyday lives. That's where we have the responsibility to try and limit pollution in the first place. There are many ways that we can help prevent such pollution, but it's up to us to make those decisions in our everyday life. So, when you're done with your experiment, think about at least one way you can reduce water pollution in your everyday life. If you've enjoyed this activity, you might also like some of the other activities in the Brownie Wonders of Water journey, the Think Like a Citizen Scientist journey, and the Ambassador Water Badge. Thanks for trying out this experiment with me and thinking of ways that you can use your resources wisely. If you would like, you can find more activities on the girlscoutsofmaine.org website at our Girl Scouts at Home page. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.